Hey guys, Wayne Goss put out a video the other day of his nighttime skincare routine, and in the video he shared that for the past 21 days he has been going to bed wearing sunscreen. You all asked me to react to that, so I'm going to be going through the video today and sharing with you guys what I think about his PM routine and going to bed with sunscreen.
Hey everyone, okay, so today is another video and it's nighttime and I have washed my face, so I wanted to share with you my nighttime routine, which has slightly changed recently. And I've been doing this, I film videos in advance, so I've been doing this now for 21 days, 22 days. And I wanted to share with you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I also want to point out I've had no negative reactions from this, but it is my choice, okay? Because a lot of people say you do not need to do this, but I want to. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm not one of these people that jump in the shower. I do not like to shower in the morning. When I wake up, I have a coffee, I sit at my computer, and I wake up and I can be there for an hour or two before I do anything else. I like to have a shower in the evening, so I go to bed nice and clean. Then I wake up and I'm clean anyway. I hate showering in the morning. It's the last thing I want to do. I just want to sit down, have a coffee.
Yeah, I'm the same way, as you guys know. It is a good idea to do your bathing in the evening time, at nighttime, before you go to bed, to remove dust, dirt, potentially pollutants that have settled on the surface of the skin from environmental exposures throughout the day. The reason this is helpful is that when you sleep, there are a variety of regenerative processes that go on in the skin to heal damaged collagen. If you've got a film of cosmetics and dirt, dust, what have you, on the surface of the skin, that's more free radicals that can be generated. It's just better to go to bed with a clean slate. And if you have acne prone skin, that can end up irritating the skin around the pore and leading to more acne breakouts. If you've got eczema, that can definitely lead to a flare of the eczema. Not to mention bathing in the evening, it can help you relax and go to sleep. Better quality sleep equals better healing of the skin, better overall skin in general.
And it got me thinking, because during the day, I just apply sunscreen and that's it. But then I'm thinking, well, I'm drinking my coffee, I'm sat at my computer, there's a window here right in front of me, and I'm getting sun exposure, not only from the computer and blue light, but also from the window. And for an hour or two a day, easy, before I wash my face and put some sunscreen on.
So if you're not familiar, we are exposed to UV rays from the sun while we're inside. UVA rays are the rays that can come through window glass. 75% of the UVA that you're exposed to while you're outside can actually come in through the window glass and contributes to not only skin aging, destruction of collagen, but also can damage the DNA within your skin cells and is thought to play a role in melanoma. It's estimated that while you're indoors, you have about 25% the UVA exposure that you would if you were just outside. So that actually is quite a bit of UVA exposure. Now, of course, there's going to be variation depending on how far away from the window you are. A lot of people have curtains drawn and it's going to be more negligible in that situation, but generally speaking, while you're indoors, you get about 25% the UVA exposure that you get while you're outdoors, which is quite a bit. You also have UV exposure if you have fluorescent or halogen light bulbs. They can emit both UVB, actually the burning rays, and UVA.
So I thought, what about if I apply sunscreen at night? So let me go through my evening routine with you. So what I'm going to do is I use 2 pumps of Dermatica. All that's bright, 2 pumps of Dermatica. And I just dot this on my face. Now I like to apply this first, obviously. Now, I put a bit on the nose, I stay away from here. Everywhere else is...
So I looked up Dermatica. It sounds like it's a direct-to-consumer service where they have their own dispensing of prescription topicals, things like tretinoin, hydroquinone, topical ivermectin. Well, I'm not sure what is in his formula, but if it is tretinoin, he mentioned not putting it around the nose. And I do think that's a good idea. I do recommend that because the creases around the nose, tretinoin can settle in there and cause a lot of irritation. That being said, I'm not 100% sure that his formula even has tretinoin, but I'm just going to go into the assumption that it does, but it may have something else in it. And he's putting it on at nighttime. The reason to put tretinoin on at nighttime is because it does actually degrade on exposure to UVA rays, which you are exposed to throughout the day. It depends on the formulation of the tretinoin. Tretinoin in microspheres, like what's in Retin-A micro, is actually pretty stable, a lot more stable than just traditional tretinoin. Studies show that after about 24 hours of exposure to UVA, 69% of the tretinoin will actually degrade. So that is why we tell people to put it on at nighttime. And it's UVA, those rays that come through window glass, that are responsible for degrading tretinoin, specifically 420 nanometers. So the rays that he's talking about being exposed to while he's in front of a window glass, those could impact tretinoin. But he puts it on at nighttime, so it's not something that you have to continue to worry about indefinitely. Now, do you need to wear sunscreen when you go to bed after you put tretinoin on to protect it in case you happen to wake up, roll over, and boom, all of a sudden you're in front of a window? No, I mean that is not necessary. We don't tell patients to do that. We don't, we tell patients put it on at nighttime, wear sunscreen during the day. When they were working on tretinoin in the early days doing the lab studies, they got these great results in acne patients with tretinoin, and then they went to repeat the experiments. And what had happened is that they had left the tretinoin sitting out on the laboratory bench, and the UVA rays that come in through window glass ended up degrading the tretinoin. They couldn't repeat the results. So that's a little historical tidbit for you.
So then I apply a tiny touch of moisturizer. Now I'm still using the Aurelia Cell Revitalize Day Moisturizer. So I apply just a small amount. And I apply this because I like the benefits of it. And I'm just a big fan of Aurelia in general. They're a lovely company, nothing sponsored in this video, but I just wanted to show you what I do. That's it.
So this is a shea butter based moisturizer that he's applying on top, which is fine to do.
My sunscreen, and then I go to bed. So I apply quite a lot, and I pretty much know now how much to apply, but I do tend to err on the side of excess, and I apply this all over, and then I blend it in. And I'll be here for a few days blending this in, and it goes all over my beard, which looks it's a stunning look, as you can see. Sunscreen bukkake, lovely, but we blend it in, and eventually it will become part of the skin. I go over my eyelids with them shut, and I blend it down onto one's neck. And then what I'll do is I just tend to get a little bit of a towel and clean the beard area off, but it does blend in, as you can see. Now the benefits I'm having from doing this is, first of all, I'm not experiencing any negative breakouts. The reason being...
So it looks like it's a mineral sunscreen. I'm not sure which one, but the bottle kind of looked like an Elta MD sunscreen, but I'm not sure.
I washed my face and cleaned it. Therefore, there's no reason for me to break out with this. I'm using a chemical sunscreen this time. I'm using a mineral sunscreen, sorry. I can use a chemical one. Some burn my skin, others don't, so I'm picky. Let's just get rid of this. I mean, that is not a hot look. So basically, that's my routine now. And I feel better. So of course, by the time I've woken up in the morning, there's a fair chance that some of that sunscreen will have dissipated. And I won't be getting the exact amount of protection, but I'm going to be getting protection. Absolutely.
So putting the sunscreen on at night like he's doing here, obviously not 100% of it is still going to be on and protecting him fully the following morning, which he says clearly here, of course I know it's not gonna, hold up 100%. But he's absolutely right. There will be some left behind. And that's great because if he then goes to apply in the morning after he's had his coffee, the benefit here is that he already has some sunscreen on the skin. And the reason this is so important is that it's actually really hard to apply enough sunscreen to get adequate coverage of all surface areas. And people skip areas. It's just not comfortable to actually apply the recommended amount. And therefore, that is one of the main reasons why we tell people they need to reapply. Yes, it's because the sunscreen rubs off and you sweat it off and what have you, but he's gonna be lying down in bed presumably. I don't know if he's a stomach sleeper or what have you. But of course, some of it's gonna rub off, but not as much as if he were out sweating. Regardless, he's gonna have some still on the skin, and putting on another layer, he's just a step ahead of the curve. So the recommendation for reapplying and for reapplying while you're outdoors is simply to make up for the fact that it's just really hard to get enough on the skin the first time, and you've got the skip areas. So the reapplication gets you better protection. That's been shown objectively in studies that when patients reapply sunscreen, especially if they reapply early on, they're less likely to burn and they're less likely to sustain sun damage. Remember, your skin, it's not a flat sheet. It's textured, it's got curves, sulci, and it's like a textured wall. If you painted a textured wall with just one coat, you're gonna see areas that are still exposed. The same holds true with your skin. So by going to bed with one layer on, and then the following day after he's had his coffee, when he applies his first layer of the day, he's got a little bit already on board. So he's already ahead of the curve. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's better, it's a little bit better than just starting out. So we'll keep watching.
And for me, it's worth it. It's also worth it because I'm using prescription strength products, they're irritating. I mean, even for people who use them a while, they can be pretty irritating. And using that much sunscreen, which is a lot, means my skin is very, very soft in the morning because I've used that amount of product. And I just feel like I've done something good because I'm not going to shower in the morning. Not going to.
Yeah, this is a great point. Sunscreens, you know, there's this kind of misconception that sunscreens aren't moisturizing. Sure, they're not formulated as like the perfect end-all be-all moisturizer, but truthfully, they are quite good at reducing water loss out of the skin. At night, when we sleep and our skin is going about these regenerative processes, we end up losing more water out of the skin. It's called transepidermal water loss. And that is why we often wake up with drier skin. By applying something as occlusive as sunscreen to the face, provided you tolerate it and it's not irritating to you, that's a great way actually to reduce water loss out of the skin. You know, sunscreens, they're either lotions or creams for the most part, and lotions and creams, that's the vehicle. The active ingredient is the sunscreen ingredient. In this case, I'm assuming it's zinc, but it might be a chemical filter. But the inactive ingredients are what constitute the vehicle, and the vehicle at its heart is a moisturizer, a lotion or a cream. And so you're getting the benefit here of reducing water loss out of the skin, which is ideal at nighttime when you're losing more water out of the skin as your skin is going about healing. And so he's saying that he's appreciated benefit from doing that. Basically, sounds like, you know, he's seeing some benefit from going to bed with a really occlusive moisturizer on, especially since he's using some other, you know, prescription grade topicals, which can be irritating. Many prescription topicals, again, I'm assuming his has tretinoin in it, but I'm not sure. They increase skin cell turnover. That ultimately can lead to more water loss out of the skin. That's why you have dryness and peeling in the beginning. It can make your skin more sensitive to things coming in contact with it. This is a great way to address that. We always tell people to go to bed with a moisturizer on. This is what he's doing. He's going to bed with a moisturizer on, and it just happens to have sunscreen ingredients in it. There's no harm in doing that.
And now I feel like I'm protecting myself as best I can from computer rays, from the sun's rays, because I'm investing time and money in skincare with prescriptions.
So the computer and computer screens or laptops, devices, they emit blue light. They don't emit UV rays. And sunscreen, some sunscreens can offer some protection against the blue light that is emitted from devices, but it's only those really that are tinted with iron oxides that offer that kind of protection. It doesn't look like he's wearing a tinted sunscreen here. It's kind of hard to go to bed with a tinted sunscreen on. They rub off and stain things. I mean, that would mess up your sheets quite a bit. Anyways, so just to clarify that regular sunscreen, they don't often protect against blue light unless they have iron oxides, which are going to be found in tinted formulas. And it's not just simply having the iron oxides and being tinted, it's kind of how the product is formulated overall that offers that visible light protection. It's got to have a certain, you know, concentration of the iron oxides, which manufacturers don't disclose to you, and it has to have, you know, a mixture of them, plus the other ingredients in the formula overall end up dictating to what extent the product protects you from the rays that come out of the screen, the blue light, the visible light. So to clarify, that is different from the UVA rays that come in through the window glass. His sunscreen will offer protection against those UVA rays that he's exposed to while he's sitting by the window, but not really the computer screen. And just to clarify, blue light does cause free radicals in the skin that can contribute to aging. It's also responsible for flaring hyperpigmentation. But the blue light emitted from laptops and devices, it's pretty negligible. The main source of blue light that you need to worry about comes from the sun. Visible light that you see with your eyes contains blue light, and that is largely what plays a big role in generating free radicals as well as aggravating hyperpigmentation. So to remind you, the sun not only pumps out UVB and UVA, but it also pumps out visible light, and blue light within the visible light range is what can also damage your skin. And sunscreens with iron oxides may offer some protection against the blue light piece of that.
Products. So I might as well invest it in using some sunscreen at night. And the added benefit is skin is really soft in the morning because it's so emollient and so heavy. So that's what I thought I'd do. You know, 22 days now, not a single irritant, not a single breakout, nothing at all. For me, it's definitely something I'm going to continue doing. Absolutely. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on this, and maybe you do the same thing. I'd love to know, because we all hear you don't need sunscreen at night, and that's true. But I do in the day, and I'm without it for a good few hours. So let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.
The concern many people have with going to bed with sunscreen on is that it's going to break them out. But you can make that argument for any moisturizer that you put on your face. It's important before applying the moisturizer to make sure that the skin is clean, which he has done. He's bathed and washed his face before applying it on. because if you have any cosmetics, makeup, dirt, pollutants left behind on the skin, and then you put something occlusive on, trapping that dirt up against the pore can lead to a lot of irritation, and that can, cause flares of acne for some people. Now, for people with acne-prone skin, another option that is quite good at reducing water loss out of the skin, but isn't quite as occlusive, is a sunscreen that is labeled oil-free. Those typically have silicones in them that allow for a more lightweight feel or more lightweight consistency and tend to be more friendly in people with acne-prone, breakout-prone skin. Is it necessary to go to bed with sunscreen on? Absolutely not. Do you need to go to bed with sunscreen on if you're using tretinoin, which is vulnerable to degradation upon exposure to UVA? No, you don't. Unless you sleep during the day and are, right up against a window, but I sincerely doubt people are doing that. Draw the curtain in that case, because if you are sleeping that way, it's going to keep you up, I would imagine. Anyways, having an occlusive moisturizer, including sunscreen, on the skin helps reduce water loss out of the skin. And ultimately, that can help you tolerate topicals like tretinoin better with less irritation. The other advantage to going to bed with sunscreen on is that when you wake up in the morning and you do apply your first layer of the day, you already have a few of the ingredients on the surface of the skin. Now, as you sleep, some of the sunscreen is going to rub off, but it's not going to rub off entirely. It's not as though when you wake up the following morning, you have no active sunscreen left behind on the skin. You do still have some. So the advantage here of going to bed with sunscreen on is that the following day, when you apply your first layer of the day, you're already ahead of the curve in terms of the quantity on the surface of the skin that is needed to actually achieve the stated SPF on the bottle. Most people grossly under-apply sunscreen. It's really difficult to apply enough the first time to actually achieve the SPF that's stated on the bottle. So by reapplying, you get more volume on the skin, and that ultimately covers more surface area, more of those grooves and crevices, and ultimately gets you closer to the SPF that you are looking for. It's also advantageous that he starts the day having his coffee by a window, and he is getting quite a bit of UVA exposure sitting close to a window. UVA damages the DNA in our skin cells, and that is what is partially responsible for melanoma. It also activates matrix metalloproteinase enzymes that chew up collagen in the skin. To what extent is a sunscreen going to remain on the skin after a full night of sleep? He's going to have some active sunscreen still left behind on the skin. Again, it's going to be influenced by how he sleeps. If he's a stomach sleeper, if he tosses and turns around a lot. You guys know I sleep flat on my back. I've got that Sleep and Glow pillow, so I really don't turn my head much at all at nighttime. And I think it would still be, quite a bit can still be left behind on the skin, and that's going to get you ahead of the curve. It's not about being perfect, provided you still apply sunscreen the following morning. So to say, why not just wait until the morning? Well, it gets you ahead of the curve as far as the volume that you have on your skin to reach that SPF that you desire, what is stated on the bottle. An SPF 50 water-resistant sunscreen applied to the forehead after 6 hours of inactivity, meaning no sweating or working out or anything, just standing perfectly still, after 6 hours, that SPF 50 still holds up. So to say that nothing, it's going to be completely worn off, that is a myth, a misconception. He still will have sunscreen on. The reason we tell you to reapply sunscreen is not because it, wears off after an hour, but because it rubs off, you sweat it off, and you don't apply enough to begin with. That is the reason for the reapplication recommendation. We also recommend that you wear sunscreen while you are indoors because, remember, UVA rays do contribute substantially not only to skin aging but to melanoma risk. I actually end up using sunscreen a fair amount at nighttime as a body moisturizer, and I find that it works quite well. Specifically, I have often used this Bondi Sands SPF 50. This is a chemical sunscreen, very moisturizing. It claims to offer 72 hours of hydration, and I can attest to that. My skin does feel very soft after I wear this. The reason I often will wear sunscreens on the body as a nighttime body moisturizer is just because I'm trying to use them up in a timely manner, and I find that they work quite well. I don't use them on my face as a facial PM moisturizer, but as I've outlined here, it's certainly an option. What he's doing here makes sense. It's not wrong. And there are benefits to doing this for sure, which he can attest to. He notices that he has softer smoother skin in the morning, less irritation from the topicals. So I hope that made sense to you guys. Nothing in this routine seems unreasonable to me, and I think he explained everything very clearly. And I hope this answered your questions about, do we need to wear sunscreen at nighttime? No, but there are benefits to doing it if you choose to. On the next slide, there's gonna be a video for you guys to watch if you haven't already of me reacting to another YouTuber's skincare recommendations. And unlike this video, those recommendations, some of them were pretty hazardous, so definitely check that out. But if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.